What's poppin', everybody? This is Cerebral54, and today I'm going to show you guys the deck list for the Lapras Frosmoth deck that I used yesterday. Of course, I'm going to show a lot more matches, not just the trilogy, the short trilogy that we did yesterday. But Lapras VMAX and Frosmoth, this is a fairly obvious combo that came with the first Sword and Shield set. I wanted to use this deck immediately. It was one of my top decks that I wanted to use from that set, but we got the cards a little bit later. It's still all good. So the combo is pretty simple. You got this Frosmoth right here with Ice Dance, similar to Rain Dance. It's kind of an ability that lets you attach as many energies as you want from your hand, but because it's a stage 1, they balanced it out by having to be on bench Pokemon, and they gotta be exclusively water. So some similarities with the Feraligatr Prime too. So even though you get this sort of energy acceleration, you can attach the energies on other Pokemon, like let's say you would want to use the Cramorant V, power up that guy and have like a sniper, power up some other Pokemon like Dragon Pokemon, let's say using water energies. No, they gotta be all water. So this limits our attackers a little bit. It gives us, it's less flexible, you could say. But it's still powerful, and it's a stage 1, meaning it's much faster. Now, obviously, we're going to try and use this Pokemon with the Lapras VMAX, like I mentioned, from the first set. Powerful VMAX Pokemon, large HP, 320, a typical weakness to lightning, and with the G-Max Pump, you do 90 damage. For each water energy attached to it, you do 30 more. So if you have 3 just to meet the standard energy cost, you're doing 180 for 3, which is it's decent enough, it's respectable. You go with the 4th one, that's 210. You go with the 5th one, that's 240. Right, yeah, on and on and on. So once you attach a couple of energies, you're getting one-hit knockouts on even the biggest Pokemon. And this is basically the plan with this deck. Now, even though it kind of balanced things out with Frosmoth being a stage 1, the fact that Lapras VMAX is also a stage 1 makes things a little bit more trickier. I mean, we still don't need to run rare candies, so this is like a stage one deck. It's okay, but we still need to run a lot of techs and stuff that you only see in energy acceleration decks like these. So it does eat up a little bit of space. Now I've got 2 of the Lapras VMAX here and 3 of the regular Lapras V. This is required to get into Lapras VMAX. It's a decent Pokemon too. 210 HP is very good. Ocean Loop is actually a very useful attack. We can even use this in a pinch to get some good damage going. It has that number 210 that can KO certain Pokemon in one shot, so that's good. And I really like the fact that you put the energies in the hand, not the discard pile. It's similar to Kyogre, Primal Kyogre EX and Kyogre EX in that fashion. Good stuff. Body Surf, the first attack. You might use this to just try and power up Lapras quick and at least be able to make the 3 energy attack on this guy if you didn't get the Frosmoth yet. So Body Surf can be a useful attack too, I suppose. But this is basically a line 3 and 2. It's all I got anyway, but this is how I would run it. With 3 and 2, you got your typical basic Pokemon and 2 of this as your main attacker. Now for the Frosmoth line, I forgot to mention this. I'm running 2 only because I have to. You can get by with 2, but if you have 3, maybe it's better to go with 3. I got 3 of these Snobs, your only option for a basic Pokemon. This little, I guess, basic form, little infant warm Pokemon. That's going to evolve into the butterfly here, you could say. 3, just to have an extra. It's your basic Pokemon. Get him out quick. You want to get him as soon as possible. So 3 and 2, it's good enough. Now, even though we can't use other Pokemon that are non-water unless we don't want to power them up with this guy. We still have a lot of decent options, some very good options in fact, for attackers and techs. I've got this Keldeo GX first and foremost. This Pokemon is obviously going to be less and less relevant when more V Pokemon come out and the GXs rotate out eventually in Standard. But with Pure Heart, it's still very useful to block out a lot of the popular Tag Team GX Pokemon, like Arceus Dialga Palkia, perhaps What else? I guess Reshiram's and stuff. Reshiram, Charizard GX, Zekrom, Pikachu, if anybody uses those. You got the Zacian V-Decks that use the Melmetal. You could block that guy too. Of course, you got to be careful because of the power plant. It can negate its ability and make this card very, very weak. It only has 170 HP. But if they don't have it, then Pure Heart is going to be useful. The real reason why I'm running this card is Sonic Edge. To be honest, Pure Heart, like I said, people can play around it, and it's not always good to rely on it. But I like to have one of these sort of attacks that go through effects in my decks when I play these kinds of decks, if I can help it. And Sonic Edge is such an attack. 110 for 3, and it's going to go through effects, meaning that you can hit Pokemon that would normally be immune to a Pokemon like this, would block damage, make some additional effects. Sonic Edge goes through that. So that's awesome. And Resolute Blade GX, we don't really run any other GX water Pokemon or just any Pokemon with a meaningful GX attack that we can use. So I suppose if they do have a full bench and you can do 250 for this, it's not too bad. You never know. You might just be using this guy and you don't have Lapras ready, so never know when a situation like that might arise. So its Resolute Blade GX is also useful. Now I do run the regular Keldeo V. This is much stronger, much simpler too. I like this guy mainly for Wave Splash, to be honest, because if I open with this guy and we play either first or second, I know that this guy might get like 1 or 2 attacks in and just do 40 for 1. That's pretty good. I mean, you soften up a Pokemon, and it means that Lapras will probably need fewer energies to finish that Pokemon off when it's ready. So it's really good to have a little bit of damage on your opponent's Pokemon ready. I like having quick attackers. If you put 3 water energies on with Secret Sword, similar to Lapras, it's going to do 50 plus 30 for each water energy, so that will be like what? A 90 for 90 and 50, that's 140 for 3, and it can go further. It is a basic Pokemon though. You don't have to evolve. So it's a good attacker too. Weakness to lightning. I wish it was maybe weak to grass. Give us a little bit of that variety. But it's weak to lightning too. I got a regular attacker here. It's a great tech. The Volcanion Prism with Jet Geyser. It can mess with your opponent's bench, force them to switch. Sonoblast is a decent attack, 100, and give me a little bit of spread. 160 HP Prism. It's just fantastic. You gotta run it in a deck like this. Why wouldn't you, since you got that water energy acceleration? And then I got a few support Pokemon. The typical ones would be Dedenne GX and Eldegoss V. Eldegoss V, of course, only one. You don't want to overuse this Pokemon because of bench space. It is a VS Seeker at the end of the day, but it's definitely a great Pokemon. Float Up can also be useful. And one Dedenne GX, if I'm being honest, in a deck like this, I would rather have like 2 Dedenne GXs. It's just crucial in the standard format. It just makes it that if your opponent forces you to play first, if you go first, then you have a better chance of getting this or just seeing like a quick ball or cherish ball. Just get this and get your sort of Juniper draw. But I'm really pushed with space in this deck. There's just too many Pokemon I want to run, and I don't want to exclude any one of these, so that's why I'm only doing 1. But if you want to do 2, you want to drop something else, by all means do so. And then the last Pokemon, probably not a lot of people will use, but what do I know, is this Donwing's Necrozma GX. So this Pokemon has Invasion. It's basically Keldeo's Rush In, and since we have the little air balloon here, you can essentially do the Floatstone Keldeo combo like we did back in the day. So one of the issues with Frosmoth is that it requires the energy acceleration to be on benched Pokemon. You cannot attach it to the active, and that can be more of a nuisance than you might think. This Pokemon, Donwinks, is here to help us with that. I can just move him in the active position with his ability, attach my energies on any water Pokemon I want on the bench, then this guy can retreat with the air balloon, and we're ready to go. This is basically the plan. It's exactly the same strategy as in a deck like Ray Ills, like in Malamar even, that the Malamar decks that I use anyway, the traditional style ones. It's basically the same thing. It eats up a little bit of space, and you know, you won't always have it around. That's why we have a few switches too. But it's good. And when you have a combo like this at your disposal, it's like you're immune to status conditions too. If your opponent inflicts a status condition on you, you can easily get rid of it really, really quickly. So that's the plan. One of this with 2 air balloons. Obviously, many of these cards, this sort of deck, the way I have it right now, it's not going to be for too long. Donmix the Frosmoth is going away with the rotation. A bunch of other cards, I think, are going with the rotation, like the Fisherman here. I guess I'll talk about that later. But since we have the cards around, of course I'm going to use the deck while I can, like this. And these are basically all of the Pokemon. Got a bunch of good attackers, got a bunch of good techs, and a few support Pokemon to help us out. It's 16, quite a bit, but not really, what's the word? I guess uncommon or unpredictable for these kinds of decks. Okay, for trainers, we have a bunch of typical stuff that you want to have in this deck. Quick Ball, you max this out in almost any deck anyway. This is to ensure that we see our basic Pokemon, mainly Snom. Maybe you're going to get Dedenne GX and draw. Maybe you get Eldegoss V to get another supporter. Get your Lapras V, get a bunch of stuff. It's just really crucial. You discard an energy, but it's all good. I got 1 Cherish Ball for Dedenne GX, and we do have 2 more GX Pokemon to search, Keldeo and Donwinks, so it's really handy. And I got a little bit of evolution searching, the evolution incense. 3 of these, it can get me both Lapras VMAX and the Frosmoth, so very good. And some energy acceleration too. The great card we get from Rebuild Clash is this Capacious Bucket. This is basically Professor's Letter, but just for water energies. Obviously in Expanded, it is outclassed by Professor's Letter. But in Standard, it's just going to serve us just right. I only need water energies, so excellent card. 2 of these to help me gather those. Naturally, we have a few energy recovery cards to go with those. I got 3 energy retrieval and the Fisherman. This is probably more than enough because you don't discard energies in this deck. But because we might discard a few with Jet Geyser and Quick Balls and stuff, maybe you use like the Dedenne, you have to discard a few. Magnolia, you guys know the drill. It's nice to have these around. Now, I don't have any Stadium in this deck. There's not any space, and this always sort of bothered me. But I guess if you want to include something like a one-off Chaotic Swell, you could take out maybe an energy retrieval, but it's handy to have around too. So, I mean, it's been working out the way I have it here, but there's a lot of times when I really want that counter Stadium. It's up to you at the end of the day. Whatever you swap, you're going to pay the price in a way too, because everything in here is in here for a reason. But these are the, I guess, energy recovery cards. Fisherman, there's a supporter, but I like to have a one-off around. We don't have Tapu Lele to get him, so it loses a little bit of his value like that. But since we have Eldegoss V, I can just grab him back too. So it could be an extra energy recovery card in a pinch. Never know. So one of these guys around. This guy will also rotate. This Donwinks the Frosmoth, and I'm not sure, maybe energy retrieval. I don't know if this rotates out or if we have some other newer ones. But yeah, some cards will rotate out. Anyway, what else do we have? Some typical stuff, like I got the Ordinary Rod for some Pokemon recovery and energy recovery. So you got this too in a pinch. Got the Pokegear Search supporter. I've got like, I think 12 supporters in this deck. So we have some good odds to get something with this. Boost consistency a little bit. Got the two tool scrappers. Tool removal. Pretty necessary. It's good stuff. And the switching cards, like I mentioned, 2 air balloon for the Dynamax Frosmoth. If you slap this on other Pokemon with to retreat, it's also good. I mean, we have a bunch of targets. You can easily just put this on Frosmoth too, and it wouldn't be bad. Double switch to help us out too, and that's that. You might think it's a lot of switching cards. If you want to take like one of any combination of this out for another card, it's up to you. But I like to have these options around. If maybe one is prized, if maybe I gotta discard one, I do want to have a few around. And the only thing that's left is the supporters and the energies. Gotta max out the Cynthia. 1 Erica is nice as always. I talked about the Fisherman. We got 2 Marnie here as a sort of my N chick, you could say. Good disruption and solid draw in hand too. Why not? Because I only want to run 2 of Professor Research. Don't want to go overboard with discarding. I've got the Dedenne too, so 2 of these old Professor ladies is good enough. 1 Skyla, great card that we get back. And the 1 Boss's Orders, and hopefully I reserve the Eldegoss for an additional use of this guy in a pinch. And these are basically the supporters, some pretty typical stuff. 11 water energies, that's usually how I go with in decks like these. 11 is the magical number. Not too few, but not too many. You're going to search them out with the bucket here and get them back with energy retrieval. And this is basically the deck. It's really cool. Obviously it has a few weaknesses, like the lightning weakness. You're going to have some trouble against the lightning decks. They'll kill you easier than usual. And it kind of makes Lapras' large HP go to waste a little bit, but we got to deal with it. Toxtricity, obviously, besides Zekrom, is like the new lightning deck. You won't do very good against that guy. He's going to kill you really easily. Doesn't even need like the poison from Garbodor. But, I mean, if we power this on the bench and we put enough water energies, we can get a 1-hit KO too. It won't be easy, but it's something we can try. And this is why I have some other tech attackers too for that situation, like Volcanion, maybe soften them up. Maybe this guy. This guy won't be good actually. Or you. So yeah, the lightning weakness, there's not much we can do about it. Like I said, because Frosmoth limits our attackers to just water, there's not much I can do. I really do want to have a sniper in this deck, but I don't think there's any good option. Like, I don't think there's any water Pokemon that snipes that's good that I'm forgetting about. But if there is, feel free to tell me. Like, we don't have Tapu Fini GX that rotated out. You can't use the Cramorant V, like I've said. We don't have any other, like, Entei GX with sort of a water sniping attack. I just don't think there's anybody that I'm missing. But, you know, it is what it is. I guess we have this guy for a little bit of spread. Right. Other problems this deck might face is basically your own self. If you brick, if you draw like things like energy retrievals and stuff like that, when you don't need them, like early in the game, you get a bunch of switches and shit with these cards. You get a bunch of your techs and you don't really get the stuff you need to set up. You can lose through yourself. Sometimes when you're trying to have energies, you don't. You can lose to yourself. When they kill this guy, you don't have another out. It sucks. But I'm not trying to make this deck that it's really weak. It's actually not. It's very good, in my opinion. I'm going to show you guys some more matches. You already seen it yesterday with that little trilogy of quick matches that I shown. I'm going to show you guys more. It's a good deck. You just got to have the right list, and just your opponent needs to not play lightning, basically, too. That helps. Alright, so I rambled like a crazy person long enough. So, hope you guys enjoyed this deck video. Hope you guys subscribe to the channel, leave a like, share this video with your friends. I'm going to show you guys some more matches with Lapras. And I gotta do the rest of the rotation videos too. I gotta just get over them finally. And hope you guys stay tuned. Cerebral Final 4, thank you guys for watching. We'll say.